Welcome to the most ambitious group of agents and investors in the country. Today is Thursday, January 16th, 2025, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 511. We have such a fascinating topic today that I don't want to cut into any of the time. Tim?
Way to go. Excellent job, Tim. So,
Thank you.
yeah, we are going to spend some time today talking about watching paint dry and growing grass. But more importantly, we're gonna learn some interesting things about the changes in the laws and how they affect you and how they affect what we're doing for you, with you, and more importantly, how Appointments Today, who is our recommended partner in terms of outbound dial, is doing that. And so that's a good thing to learn about. You probably, if you were on the call already at the time we did this and turned it on, you saw something pop up on your screen that said the call was being recorded. Uh, Please agree or not agree, but just click on the OK button, particularly if you would like to chat with us, because if you don't do that, then we probably won't be able to hear you. And that's frequently become a challenge lately for people to do that. So make sure that you click on that. Also, and that allows me to tell you that we do want to hear from you. You want to ask questions, talk about what you're doing, all that sort of stuff. Click on the react button at the bottom, and that will give you the opportunity to raise your hand. There should be a button on there that says raise hand, and that's what I just did. And it will work, and you can be raising your hand, and we'll recognize you and call on you. I'll also ask, since we're going to kind of go through some tough stuff today, not tough, but stuff that we need to get through. Coaches do the same thing. When you have something you want to say, pop your hand up there, and we'll try to keep this a little better organized today in the interest of time. Last thing I'll say is this before I turn it over to Matt Milia to talk with us is that please get to your questions early. Don't wait till the very last second on the call, because we're trying to be really respectful of your time. We don't want it to go past an hour. We ask you that you commit the hour, and we commit our time to do the same thing. So we'll be respectful of yours. We definitely want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions, anything that you want to talk about, responding to the presentation that you hear, anything else. We're not here to try to hustle you to do something, trying to help you learn and grow from learning with you. So if you have something to say, get to it early. Let's get at your conversation, and it allows us to provide better service. Uh, we have two of the three team coaches on the call today. I don't know where Bill Bird is, but Mr. Steve Carney and Aline Smolenoff are both on. And today we're going to hear from Matt. Matt is with Appointments Today. He's the head Fred in the shed at Appointments Today, and makes all the great decisions that they make, and does the stuff that are the reasons that we decided to not be in that business, which is he's staying on top of what is going on in that industry. And there's been some seismic changes in it, and I think it's a great time for us to hear more from Matt. And we've done some things to change what we're doing as well, and he's added some cool stuff. So Matt, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you have a few slides to go through, and let's try to get through those and open up to some questions and go from there.
All right. I'll make sure that I'm very respectful on time, because usually when there's a slide deck, sometimes I'll be fast. But so for all of you guys here, I'm going to basically go through a presentation with you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about compliance, the new TCPA regulations, and I just want to let everyone know I am not an attorney. So I would highly recommend that if you have one, consult with an attorney. However, again, for all of you guys that are on here, I will kind of touch on some of those regulations and then some things that we're doing as a call center to stay in compliance. So, Tim, can you see my screen okay?
Yep. But before you get started, I want to know if you're legitimately going to help prevent me from going crazy. I think that's great.
That's the objective and the goal here. So absolutely.
All right, go for it, man.
All right. So for all of you guys on here, again, who don't know me, my name is Matt Milley. I've owned and operated an inside sales contact center here for going on a decade now. So I've been doing this for a little while. And what I want to go through with you guys today is essentially how you can close, an additional 4 to 5 deals a year, do it without going broke or crazy, and essentially stop falling short year in and year out and just grow your business here on autopilot. So what you're going to learn today, I'm going to share with you guys how you can be omnipresent, meaning how you can be everywhere your prospect looks, which I believe is one of the most important things, especially now with all the regulations that have come out. It's vital that people know about what you do, what you offer, how you do it, and then you constantly, consistently stay top of mind. We're going to talk about the power of digital marketing and combining that with phone sales. And when I think of you, I think of it could get real crazy going into that. So the point of it is when they think of you, we want them to think of you as the expert, as their probate advocate. And we're going to talk a little bit, I'm going to touch on this, how you can stay compliant with TCPA regulations. I know that's about as fun as watching paint dry. So I'm going to be, I'll be brief on that. And if you guys want, some more information on that, of course, I'll give you some ways too that you can reach out to me and kind of share some of the resources here. So who's this guy here with the outdated real estate photo? I think this is actually maybe 10 years old. But again, a little bit about me. My name is Matt Milia, owned and operated Appointments Today, going on 10 years. We focus primarily on a lot of your colder leads, colder data. We work in PPC as well, but I mean, the vast majority of what we do and specialize in, more specifically related to what you guys do, is probate. And so what we're doing and how we're able to kind of help you guys out and all the different services that we offer. So one thing that we offer here is we have administrative services. If you guys need help finding a virtual assistant, you need somebody to kind of help you with the not so fun activities, we have services for that. We do recruiting services, which is of course, if you're a team lead or broker, is a very great way for you to grow your business. We'll show you how you can essentially own your own virtual staff member. We can also help you, and this is a big part of what we're going to be doing in 2025. If you have your own inside sales rep, we can also basically offer coaching for them, offer accountability, kind of bring them into our group where every day we meet on a team meeting, and we listen to calls, we go through objections, we go through how to handle those. So we kind of give your inside sales reps or your appointment setters the roadmap on how they can increase their skills and conversion. And then we also offer standalone retargeting, which essentially is what we're going to talk a little bit about, the omnipresent. When I say standalone retargeting, that basically means marketing, re-going in, people seeing you on social media, people seeing you just about everywhere so that when they think of buying or selling a home, they think of you. So I'm just going to say it. We call your leads because we know you don't want to. And I mean, that's why we've been around now for going on a decade. And so everyone that I'm presenting this to, I want you guys to know we're like Planet Fitness. We're the judgment-free zone. You may be new to this. Maybe you've done this for a while. Maybe you don't like calling leads. Maybe you won't call leads and instead you're relying on other channels and other verticals. We'll talk a little bit about that and how we can essentially help you leverage what we have. And again, whether you have your own inside sales rep, whether you're thinking about it or you want to get into this, we'll talk about what that would look like. For us, we do the dirty work. We have the difficult conversations. It's essentially what we live for. And our goal for you guys is to turn your cold leads, which the folks who don't know who you are, don't know what you offer, don't know what you do, we want to help you turn those into gold. And we're going to help you really, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been of that mindset where I feel guilty if I'm not calling my leads or I'm not getting to them in a timely manner, if I'm not calling them at least 10 times. And so we're going to help you get rid of that and so that your leads don't go cold. So let's talk a little bit about omnipresence. One of the things that we're launching here, and we're going to be reaching out to all of our clients through all the leads and some of the other verticals and mediums we work with as well. We run Facebook and we also do retargeting ads. And so we've only done this in the past. In a lot of cases, we did it for our own business for a very long time. And we've decided that now with all the regulations and everything that's coming out, it's so important to be omnipresent. We want everyone to know who you are, what you do, and essentially why you do it. And so we're going to run retargeting Facebook ads. We're going to do video and image ads. We have Right now, we're going to be working on about 10 different variations. And then we're also going to run Google display banner retargeting. So essentially what that is, and I'll kind of use this as an example. If you are, let's say you're online, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced this, but let's say you're online and you're shopping for like car tires. I use this always as an example because I've gone on a few times, had to get new tires. I'm up in the great north here in Cleveland. And so the weather gets pretty bad around this time of the year. So, looking at winter tires, go on a website, start looking around, get distracted, find something else I got to do. And then all of a sudden later on that day, I start looking on YouTube. I go and click around online and says, hey, are you looking for winter tires? We got a great deal for you. We're going to show you guys and actually do it for you. We're going to basically get you in front of more people. And so you stay top of mind, because right now, the best marketer and the best marketer and the best person that can reach out to the most people with the least amount of resistance is going to be who wins in this market. And so we're going to walk through, kind of give you guys some framework on that. And then we want to help you really remind your prospects of what you do, even while you're sleeping, because we cannot work 24 hours a day. And we're going to show you guys how we can essentially ethically hijack leads and opportunities directly from your competition. And this is very powerful because there are so many times that when people are thinking about buying or selling a home, very rarely is it the best real estate agent that wins. It's usually the best marketer that wins. So we're going to show you guys how you can essentially double your sales, double your opportunities, and do it essentially with just employing us. So why we do this, guys, call reluctance is like the #1 deal killer in this business. And so many folks are afraid to pick up the phone. And now, I mean, with all these new regulations that have come out, they've made it even more challenging to even want to pick up the phone. So we're going to help you guys. Again, full disclosure, not an attorney, but we are going to help you guys stay in compliance as much as we possibly can. And we're going to share with you guys kind of a few different techniques and tools and things that we're doing so that when January 27th, 2025 rolls around and the official TCPA kicks off with all these regulations, we'll show you guys how to stay in front of them. We're going to help you eliminate guilt over not working the leads. And, ultimately we do this because it's our passion. It's what we know. It's what we've done for quite some time, and we love doing it. So I want to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown. When I first got into the business, I actually started off, I've been in this since 2004. I started off though in mortgage. And so when I was doing mortgage, I mean, we were doing loans that were like 125% loan to value, which those don't exist anymore. We were doing some loans where, I mean, I don't even know how they went through, but at the time, that was what I was told. I was 18 years old. I was told, hey, this is what we're doing. These are the products we're selling. And so I did it. And again, for myself, I mean, it was very easy, the industry then, but that was also before the whole subprime meltdown, the market crash. So I've been doing this for a little while now. But what inside sales agents ended up doing for our team and how it really helped us, we went from doing, our Cleveland real estate team, we were doing about 100 closings a year. We had at that time 7 agents, and I mean, they were doing very well, but it was just to a point where the agents could only do so much. There's only so many hours in the day to make these calls. And so what we ended up doing is, at that time, I got brought in as the inside sales rep, and I had a team of 2 other virtual assistants that we trained up, coached, managed, got them to make phone calls. And it took us from 100 to doing 300 plus deals. And the crazy thing is, yes, we doubled our number of agents, but when you hear 300 deals, people are thinking, oh, you probably got 30, 40, 50 agents. We did that with 15 agents, and we only had 2 additional ISAs in addition to myself. So, I mean, with that, what we were able to do is we were able to start doing what we wanted to do, and ultimately not what we had to do. And a lot of the agents, they weren't fans of calling their leads. They want to just go to listing appointments. Hey, put me on a listing appointment. Get me in front of somebody. I'm going to close and convert. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys on here that feel that way. Get me to the appointment. Get me in front of them. I'll close the deal. And what it allowed us to do, in addition to helping grow the business from the inside out, we had more cash flow consistency. Instead of going from, and I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but where you have months where you close, I mean, you got months where you do 4 or 5 deals, and then you go 3, 4 months with no deals. Our goal is to essentially help you guys condense that and have consistency every single month. And so put a couple testimonials on here. We have quite a few more, but I mean, I only have so much time, so I want to be respectful of that. But I mean, for Tom, we actually, what it says here, we helped him achieve a listing within a month. He went live on the market in a few months. I want to extend a huge thank you to Matt and his incredible team and the setter for their outstanding work. So in this gentleman, we helped him get a listing right away. With Tom, he was using us for calling not necessarily just his cold leads, but also his warmer PPC leads as well. He's been working with us for quite some time. And so, for Tom, I mean, we actually were able to plug into multiple platforms for him and just call the leads because him and his wife, they didn't have the time to do it. So let's talk about where the paint dries and the fun stuff here. And again, guys, full disclosure, I am not an attorney. We do have an attorney that we brought in that was a TCPA expert, and that's what they specialize in. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about one-to-one consent and the impact it has on what you're doing, and then ultimately how it impacts leads on the DNC. So in the past, I mean, the DNC was, they didn't have the same motivation as an individual agent and as an individual person. When you call somebody on the DNC, if they're said, hey, take me off the list, I'm on the DNC. Hey, okay, no problem, take them off the list. Challenge now is that there are companies out there that are actually incentivizing and rewarding folks that are on the DNC. In fact, they're running ads to these individuals as we speak. And so what's happening is if someone's on the DNC and a call goes out and you call someone and they say, oh, I'm on the DNC. Well, prior to the January 27th, the new regulations that are coming out, there was really no, for the person that was getting the phone call, there was no interest for them to turn you in. Now their interest has gone up where they can make anywhere between $500 to $1,500 for every violation. In the past, that money was paid directly to the FCC. Now that money is paid directly to the individual that's on the DNC, which is why it's so vital that we change the approach, we change the angle, because calling folks that are on the DNC, I mean, generally speaking, about 30 to 40% of your list they're going to be on the DNC. And so for us, we want to make sure that we get in front of them every possible channel, every single vertical, including, of course, mailing out letters. And of course, I mean, that Tim could talk more on that. But the goal is for us to stay in front of them every means possible, all means necessary. And so one of the things that we've employed and we just put into place is we scrub against what's known as known litigators. So a known litigator is someone who essentially, they are an attorney. They're listed, of course, on the DNC. And what these guys do is they have a bunch of phones they buy. They buy these numbers, and then they're just waiting for people to violate this. And once they violate it, this is kind of where it gets, it can be very challenging for someone who is making these calls, because if you call somebody on the DNC and they're a known litigator, they're going to play along, meaning they're going to have the conversation with you. They'll give you all the information that you could possibly want. And then after that, what ends up happening is they will then essentially turn around and file suit. And so with that being said, the goal for us is to make sure that we get rid of all known litigators. We scrub the entire list. Even people who are not on the DNC, we take it one step further because we want to make sure that there's nothing that falls through the cracks. So any leads that come through, and we've been doing this now since the beginning of January, we switched over. We're now scrubbing against anybody that's on the DNC just to make sure that we are knowing that, hey, if this is a known litigator, we want to make sure that we take care of that and get to the bottom of it up front. And we know that that's going to ultimately massively reduce the risk of, being sued. And this is one of the reasons why we're running ads, and the objective is to be omnipresent, so people know who you are, they see what's going on, they see that you got these ads going out, and then when they think about selling their home, they're thinking of you. So we're going to do everything in our power. Again, I'm not an attorney, but we will do everything in our power to help you guys stay in compliance. So, what makes us different than a lot of other companies out there? Well, our guys don't moonlight. So what I mean by moonlighting is like, for example, let's say you go and you hire from like some overseas company, and they're, oh, hey, you can get one of our virtual assistants for X amount of hours. And they don't really have a whole, like a lot of these other companies, they don't necessarily have the training. They don't have the resources. They don't know what to say when they get on the phone, and they don't specialize in really much of anything. And so what we do is, like, our guys, all they do for all the leads clients, they specialize and focus solely on probate and pre-probate. And then we're also working through with some of the other lead sources as well. But pre-probate and probate are like where our guys are very like that's what they know inside and out. All of our guys are what we call expats. So they're callers that are originally from the States. We've got callers from Mississippi, California, Iowa, Chicago, Pennsylvania, Texas. I can't think of all the other ones, but I mean, we've got all of our guys originally lived in the US. Now, they don't live there in the US anymore, but you would never know the difference. It sounds just like they're calling from your local market. We certify all of our callers before dialing. In fact, our guys went through the DNC compliance certification yesterday, talking about paint drying. That is probably one of the most boring courses we've ever done, but it was important to get that in there. All of our callers are also trained on all of the unique selling propositions that all the leads offers. We work with other probate lead providers, but I'm going to tell you guys that the biggest differentiator with all of the leads, and I'm not just saying this because I'm presenting on here, it is 100% the coaching, the training. Very few people have a Bruce. I mean, that's far and few between. You don't see that in these other organizations. They don't have training, and they don't even have weekly meetings, which I mean is amazing. So I mean, this is more of a community. It's not just somewhere where you can go and buy a bunch of leads. And so what I always tell everyone is that the most important thing is that all of the unique selling propositions that come in through all of the leads, our guys are trained up on. And so that makes a world of difference when we go to set up the appointment or we get the nurture, which, by the way, nurture is somebody who's not committed to an agent. They do have a home they want to sell, but they've got a bunch of stuff that's going on right now that's stopping them from having a conversation about, hey, I want to sell my house now. They got maybe in family fighting. They have other issues that are going on. And so for us, it's very important that we stay memorable. And we do that not just through the calls, but through the retargeting. We're calling each lead minimum of 10 times, and then we're running ads as well. So the great thing about it, and this is where I wanted to also let you guys know, there's no limitation on the amount of people that we can market to. So let's say you're someone who has, maybe you got a database of like a couple thousand people, and you just haven't had a chance to get a hold of them or call them. We'll run retargeting ads directly to them, which in turn will get them to click on the link, find out more information, fill out the form, fill out the info. And then from there, we've got one-to-one compliance, which is part of the TCPA, but we have that one-to-one compliance for them to be able to talk with us directly, and then we'll get the okay for them to essentially talk to you. So here's kind of what you can expect. Now, we have a few different packages, and I'm going to kind of go through all of that. And so what I tell everybody is that, the very first year is us kind of putting together and getting your hit list, essentially. On average, 50% of all nurtures that we send over, they end up converting and closing in 24 months. Now, I would love to tell you that those closings are going to be your closings. They're absolutely going to be, all 50% are going to close with you. It's not reasonable. But 50% of all those folks that we send those leads over, they end up eventually selling their home. Usually it's within 24 months or less. And so in the first year, what most folks are seeing is about 3 closings. That's kind of the average. And, year number 1 is, again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a little bit slower than where we want it to be. And of course, with us running the ads, we feel like that number is going to increase exponentially. Year two is when everyone sees the biggest return. They're usually getting about 12 plus deals in the second year. And the reason why that is because all of that nurturing, all of those retargeting ads, everything that people are seeing, it keeps you top of mind. And then we do have some trainings as well of a couple additional things that you can do so that you can stay in front of these folks and really just be the only. Essentially, we want to help you dominate your zip code. That's really what we're looking to do. We want you to be the only person that when they think of selling or buying real estate, they're thinking. So why this works, when we do our ads and when we run our ads, now the ads that we're running, I just want to make sure that everyone understands, they're retargeting ads. So the great thing about retargeting is if these guys go and click on our ad and they're like, oh, wow, this is really great, they do some good things, but then they just don't decide to take us up on it, it'll follow them and they'll continue to see our ads not only in Facebook, but they'll see them on other verticals and other mediums as well. If they go to just click on YouTube, for example, we have it even set up so that there's like display ads that go on there where it's like, hey, thinking about selling your home, click here. We have that set up so that it follows them around anytime they're online. And that way it's going to give you guys multiple mediums. And then if you combine this with not just the calling, but sending out letters, I mean, you're attacking on all fronts, and they're going to consistently think of you when they think of selling. So what kind of cash can be generated from this, and like what is even the opportunity with something like this? I actually kind of talked with a few folks on this, got some numbers from some of our clients, and then also did a little bit of additional research. The average flip, I mean, even on the low end, you're making probably between 15 and 25,000 on a flip. On the wholesale side, probably anywhere between 5 to 10,000. And so in year one, most investors can walk away with anywhere between $45,000 to $75,000 in return. And then, an investor in year two, I mean, again, depending, of course, on how many you're flipping, what are you wholesaling? I mean, you walk away from anywhere between 150 to 300,000 in the second year, which makes the investment massively profitable. And then the average agent commission, and I kind of took this off of like a $300,000 list price. Closing 3 deals in year one is 27,000. Second year, getting up to 12 deals, you're looking at potentially $108,000 in gross commission. So training, which I think is very, very vital, and this is something that we do that quite frankly is extremely it's not common. We train our callers every single day. Now, why I say this is uncommon, because most people just want to get hey, buy my inside sales rep, buy this person, get this person. They put them on your stuff. And then the only time that they practice is on your leads. That is the worst. We don't believe in that. We want our guys, every single one of our guys gets certified. They have to go through rigorous testing with our entire team before we'll even let them touch a phone. And so sometimes, I mean, we've hired people where they've sat dormant for 2 to 3 months because we're so adamant about making sure they're the perfect fit. They're going to be good on the phone. And so we go above and beyond with our training. We certify them. We make sure they know everything going in so that they can have a good, solid conversation. But again, we do this knowing that these probate leads are not something that you can just hand to someone and say, hey, good luck, make your calls. We know that there's more that goes into it. There's a certain talk pattern, there's a certain script, and there's an approach that it has to happen in order for success to be there. And so the role playing, call listening, we do that all within a group. We do it daily at noon. We bring all of the guys in. And of course, this is a part of our coaching services too. If you have somebody like you have an inside sales rep that maybe you hired, or a virtual assistant that you hired, maybe you hired somebody overseas, maybe they're local, maybe it's an agent that just wants some extra help with the calling. We'll invite them into our group and they'll be a part of our group coaching session. And so the training that we go off of, we use something called NEPQ, neuro-emotional persuasion questions. So essentially we basically talk to what we call the lizard part of the brain, which is the part of the brain that makes decisions on autopilot. And so our goal and objective is to come in. We don't want to be like our training. We don't elicit sales pressure. We want to come in as an advocate, as somebody that's there to help and to give them direct really to give them direct training so that they can be more effective and more efficient on the phone. And then we help them ask better questions and that are going to cause massive action in the prospects. And all the unique selling propositions and all of the training is built off of all the leads training that you guys go through every week within these mastermind calls, which is, from what I've seen, is like the best and really, quite frankly, some of the only really amazing training I've seen in the industry as it relates to probate and pre-probate. And so what leads are we going to call? I mean, we pretty much going to call everything that's real estate related. And again, I mean, we have other services outside of just the calling, but we'll call any leads that are real estate. We call listing leads, buyer leads. And so what the impact is from people that hire us on this, we're going to help you get to a point where you can stop the 0 closing months, because let's just call it what it is. Those are rough months. The goal is to double your sales when it comes to the probate and pre-probate side, and really just finally hit and exceed your goals and just get rid of that whole guilt of like, oh, I'm not calling my leads. So I know some of you guys, might be skeptical. I've heard all this before. I've tried this. It doesn't work. Where I can tell you guys where we've really designed, developed, and reverse engineered the system is that we make these calls. We've had a lot of success with getting appointments, with getting nurtures, getting people to raise their hand and say, hey, I have interest. And so it's a lot different than what your, what the typical setup is. And, a lot of folks too, they say, I'd rather have my agents call the leads, or I'm an agent, I'd rather call myself. I mean, sure, I get that, but we all know that in a lot of cases that just doesn't happen. I mean, because you get busy. Sure. I mean, what is it now? January. So you might have more capacity now because we're in the slower season. So you may have more capacity to call the leads right now, but what happens in mid to late February? What happens in March? What happens in April when all of a sudden you start getting more listings, you get more at bats, you get more opportunities, you're putting out fires, you're dealing with so many other real estate related items. And so you just don't have that time to commit. That's where we come in. We'll call those leads and help condense that time. Some of you guys might have, I hate to say it, but it just is what it is. It's cheap overseas labor. And if you have that, that's totally fine. I mean, we can help train and coach those guys up. Or you're going to say you have an AI caller that's going to do all of this. I will 100% warn everyone here. The reason why this whole January 27, 2025 and why this TCPA crackdown happened is because of a lot of these AI callers. It's because of these fake calls that come through. And especially if they're cold and they don't know who the person is, you're 100% violating that. And it averages out between $40,000 and $50,000 in violation if you have some sort of AI calling system that's calling, and these people have not opted in to that. So I highly recommend that if you're doing that, you either want to stop doing that immediately or only do that with people that consent to that call type. And so again, what you can expect year one, 3 to 5 closings. 3 is kind of on the low end. But again, it also depends on your lead count. I mean, if you're getting 300-400 leads a month, then 5 closings would not be at all unreasonable. And then year 2, 10 to 12 closings. Again, I'm kind of basing this off of folks that have 100 leads or so. If you have more leads every single month, then essentially you have more opportunities to close. So, I'm not quite sure why you're here. Maybe you just can't stand making calls. Maybe your agents don't call. Maybe you're just sick and tired of leads falling through the cracks, or you don't have the time or desire to go at it alone, or you just don't want to make those calls. And again, I get that too. Like I said earlier, Planet Fitness, judgment-free zone. I am not judging. If you don't like to make the calls, it's the reason why we do what we do. So for all of you guys kind of wondering, hey, what's this look like cash-wise? So for us to run retargeting ads for you, make the calls, also run you guys all against the blacklist. And the blacklist is basically people who are known litigators and who are looking for people to violate this. We'll do all of that for you. We'll do everything we can. Again, not an attorney, but we'll do everything we can to keep you guys compliant. It's $795 a month, and it's a $500 one-time setup. Now, if you are on this call and you're also a part of all the leads, we have a couple of different really awesome deals for you guys. We also have our micro package. And so I wanted to do this, quite frankly, because I know some of you guys maybe only get 50 leads, 60 leads a month, or 40 leads. So for those that get less leads, We do have a little bit more of an affordable package at $395 a month, $500 setup. And again, if you're on this call, there is a discount. And not even if you're thinking about this, you want to weigh out the options. There's a $250 coupon that all the leads is extending out to give you guys instant savings off of this. So what we're trying to do here, guys, is really lower the barrier of entry, make it so that you all stay compliant, and really make it so that you can grow this side of your business and make it a duplicatable and repeatable system that you can continue to put in. So with that, that's all I've got. If you guys are wanting to get more information, maybe you want to see if it makes sense for you, maybe you want coaching, maybe you want us to help you staff someone, just go directly to alltheleads.com/ISA. And I am proud because I thought that was going to take me almost this whole call. I got it done with 20 minutes to spare. So I will turn it back over to Tim and the team.
You did good, bud. That was great. Couple of just things I want to hammer really hard is that be aware that things have changed. That's the key thing that you need to take away from this, that as of is it the 27th, Matt?
Yep, January 27th.
You know, the whole world changes there, and what you don't want to do is be in a situation where you've exposed yourself to liability you don't want. Now, having said that, we didn't do this to scare you. That was not the point. And we're not trying to scare you, shame you, or trick you into saying, well, I guess I better let these guys do that. We know that the key element here is to get in front of as many people as you can get in front of as rapidly as you can and be top of mind when the decision point comes to either sell or list the property. So that's what we're trying to help you get done. That's the objective here. The days of being able to use, multi-line dialers, throw everything you got in there and have at it, you're taking your life in your hands. Am I saying that, the culture police are going to be watching you like a hawk every day and they're going to chase you around after, you're a guy that's chasing, 5-10 leads a month and doing that? You got to be intelligent to know that the bigger fish are the ones that are going to get chased more than the little ones are. So I'm trying to be, straightforward and honest, but the other side of that is that the law changed for a reason. If you're like me, your inbox I've gotten 4 calls since we started this conference call. 3 of them are spam calls on my cell phone. Now I've deliberately kept the same cell phone number for, decades at this point. And I don't mind getting the calls, just like I don't mind getting, I hate to say this, but I get an inbox full of spam every day too. I look at it and listen to it and see what's going on. I don't listen to all those calls or read all the email, but it's a way to get a little bit of a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry. I can tell you that the amount of spam texts and calls is voluminous. It's we all thought maybe after the election, our text inboxes were going to get smaller, and they took a little bit of a break, but they're coming back again, even as strong as they were during the election. And so I may have to make some tough choices in regard to what I do, because that's unusable for me. And Matt, you didn't necessarily talk about the texting side of this in a lot of detail, but the same thing apply here on text, not just phone calls. You got the same general issues at play there. If you're texting somebody and you don't have the approval, you got the same problem, and it's going to get worse because it's pretty clearly documented there. Not easy to dodge that one. That's
it's proof. Yeah, proof right there. Yeah.
Can't say, "Oops, I slipped and texted you." It didn't work that way. So I'm just saying, we're doing this from an educational standpoint. I think it's critical to know that we're trying to be careful about what we do as a company. So that's the reason that we established this relationship with Matt's company to refer it over there. We don't tell them what to do. We didn't tell Matt to go figure out to do the retargeting and to hire a TCPA attorney and all of that. He's running his business. We're trying to send you to the people that we think are the best people around to do this. It's your call who you use. If you don't like Matt, and you don't think that he's the right guy, find somebody else who is, but don't just look at this and say, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. you'll be the person that's sitting on the curb one day going, what the heck happened to me? Because the world's changing and you don't want to be in that situation. Using a third-party calling service is not the only answer. Certainly not the only answer, but it's getting to the point where you have to find a way. If you're going to stay in this business, people have to find you. If you think just running ads is going to do it, if you think, what you're doing today is going to be good in 6 months, you're wrong. I have to say you're wrong. There are other approaches to doing this. I know that there are other people who are putting out lots of pieces of mail that are working out well for them. We're doing a lot of things that we'll be talking about and changing in regard to our mail platform coming up. Same thing with email. We're going to be doing a lot more there as well. But you've got to be hitting all the cylinders to do this right. And it's what's going to separate the people on this call from the people who aren't making money in real estate. You're going to see a lot of people drop by the side of the road that don't have systems and don't have structure and don't have the ability to make things work for themselves. They won't be there. You're here because you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow, and you're trusting us to try to give you good information, and we're doing that. I'm proud of the fact that we've attracted people like Matt and folks like that we bring to the game. We don't take our referred partners lightly. We get calls every day from people who say, hey, let us do this for your people, do this for your people, do this for your people. And I'm like, nope, we're good. We've got a lot of things going on and there are a lot of things we could do, but we're slow to react. It's not because we're lazy, it's because we're careful. We're trying to be careful for you. So with that, I would like to say, please reply, raise your hand. Let's hear from you. We want to hear your comments about what Matt had to say, questions, anything at all like that. But I thought Matt did a great job of sort of synopsizing what needed to be done and, from his standpoint to make it work.
Joseph asked a really good question. What about emails pulled from public records of affidavit of death? I don't see that as being so emails. The one wonderful thing about emails is not something that is necessarily you have to worry about the compliance element as much. Again, not an attorney, but from what they've told us, the TCPA is strictly worried about phone calls. They're worried about people that are being violated with the DNC. Now, guys, I want to also clear this up. If they're not on the DNC, hey, all do what you're doing. But the big thing now is that with the DNC, it's no longer, oh, oops, I made a mistake, should have called you, sorry. Now it could turn into something much more challenging. And the one thing that I will say with probate is with them being in probate, they went to the court, they filed it. But again, you want to be in compliance as much as possible. So that's why we scrub against that list of known litigators, because if it's a known litigator, I mean, they're coming after you for those violations. And so I think it's really important that that's just really important that guys know that. But email is free game.
Yep. And Mark and Jim, I see your hands. I'll get to you in a second. Matt, I want to clarify one thing that you said, and I want to make sure that you're not that you're correct in what you said, but I have a question. You said if they're not on the DNC, go for it, don't worry about it and all that. Here's the reality. Even though they may not be on the DNC, taking all of those and putting them into a multi-line dialer, you are violating the law even doing that if they're not on the DNC.
That's true. Yep.
Because the law has changed in regard to the way that works. And I believe that's correct. Now, I'm not representing myself as a legal authority here either, but that's the reason that they're after this. AI and multi-line dialers are the things that they're shooting for, and mostly they're shooting at the big guys. But if your history is to take everything and chuck it into a big dialer and have at it, you're going to have to be careful. So that's really the kind of the question there that you kind of got to watch out for. Jim Stewart, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you will do that, sir.
You bet. I had a success story to share. I've been working with Matt's team for probably about 6 months now, Matt, maybe. And I had a contact that reached out to me on my personal website back in July. And he had his father was in hospice they were considering selling his property in advance of his death, but they ended up waiting. And so fast forward to, I think it was November timeframe. Our calling service called the personal rep, which was this guy's sister, and she responded, yes, we want to sell the property. They passed the lead on to me. I met with them, did a walkthrough, and I now have that property under contract. So, and that was my first conversion to a purchase with Matt. And kind of like we talked about in the beginning back in August timeframe, you said it would take, a good 3 to 6 months to really see things start to kick in. And I'm starting to get, more consistent responses now. I do have a bunch of nurture leads to follow up with, the first quarter this year too. So it's working. I'm seeing the benefit, and I just want to say thank you to Matt and his team.
Thanks,
Wow.
Jim.
That's absolutely awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's good. And congratulations for, sticking with it. And guys, this is not a sprint. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a game that you're going to get better at every month. They're going to get better at it on your behalf every month. We get better at it every month on your behalf every month. We learn more every month that we're in this business. We get better at mail. We get better at everything that we do, or that's our objective anyway. And the same thing is true. It takes a while for that to mature in the marketplace to continue to work. So, that's just awesome. That's great. Hey, Mark, what's up, buddy? Unmute yourself. There you go.
Hey guys, quick question for you guys. I was under the impression if you mail somebody, if you contact them by mail first and then you call them, even if they're on the do not call list, that kind of canceled that out because you're following up on a piece of mail versus just cold calling.
It doesn't change the legality of it. What it does is it warms the call up. They still did not agree for you to call them. The law is pretty specific about that, and it literally requires that you consent to being contacted. The person consent to being contacted. It's not, the whole point behind the mail is that you're the ones that you do contact, that you're allowed to contact, and all of that is that you're following up on a specific document. It's a great way to start the call, but it doesn't clean up the responsibility side of it. You can mail all day long. If they didn't say yes, it doesn't matter.
Okay, just was wondering about that.
That's a great question. That's a great question. And apparently, somewhere along the way, we've not explained that very well, because the fact that you'd ask says I'm really tickled that you did ask that question, because that's a key element there. And you don't want to assume that it'll be better. It definitely is better to call. And that's the whole point behind doing mail, is to make sure that you're working off of a warmer lead, but it's not fixing the responsibility at all. Okay, Matt?
Jim, every time we talk about it, I always feel compelled to mention there's still no do not mail police. You can mail all you want. Nobody's going to come after you.
Well, and I think that's the key that I'm trying to make here, is that you need to be hitting on all cylinders. You definitely, absolutely have to have a mailing presence out there. You're foolish not to go do that. It's the one thing that nobody's after you for, and you can be as creative as you want. And you can absolutely, without question, put a mailing piece together that 100% of the people that get it are going to open. Now, it may cost you a fortune to do one that the 100% of the people are going to open, but by gradually working that down to an affordability scale, you can work with our MIS team. We can put some compelling mail out there for you and get them open. What you say in that mail, what you talk about and all of that to get them to engage with you, there's art to that. There's a lot of art to that. You may either be barraging them with all of the wonderful things that you do, or find something that works magically in your local marketplace. There are lots of things that I've seen done that are very compelling and that people get it. I will tell you that for the most part, if I am the personal representative for John Doe and I get a piece of mail that says regarding the estate of John Doe, I'm going to open that. It's my job. I'm the PR. So it could be someone filing a lien against that person, as well as what we do in our normal mailing, which is to put it out in a non-business envelope appearing to be, hand addressed. And we don't just do it with garbage fonts. We do it with a very carefully constructed program where our mail is skewed slightly on the envelope. It doesn't look like it was done by a machine in any way. Same thing with a stamp and all of that. It literally gives it that somebody got this together and sent it to, and that's important. So
Jim, one other thing I find really interesting about mail, I've said so many times, figure out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. Years ago, before social media, before, a lot of the other marketing campaigns, I used to get a ton of mail. I don't get nearly as much as I used to, especially junk mail. So I mean, it may not apply to everybody, but what we do get, if you donate to a charity, every charity in the world will send you donate to me too. We get a lot of that, but I think you're less likely to get, at least in a lot of cases, less likely to get lost in the mailbox than you would have been years ago, among a lot of other mail.
I've noticed a change. I agree with you. I've noticed since the last election was over, I think a lot of people spent a lot of money they had in the election, but I've seen a decrease literally in the last probably 30 days, definitely a decrease, but some of that has to do with its holiday. A lot of people don't do stuff other than sale related stuff during the holidays. They're going to see that pick back up again, but it definitely, I'm seeing seasonality to what's going on in the mail at this point. And regardless of that, if you're a personal representative or you're an heir or anything like that of all of the things that, are going on, you're definitely going to see that in somebody's inbox at some point, more so necessarily than you would have going forward. That makes sense?
Yep.
Joe, you asked a question about how can a known litigator file a probate. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. The known litigators aren't necessarily filing for probate. Yeah, you raised your hand. That's great. Unmute yourself there, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the leads that I get are probate leads for personal representatives, and they show the probate attorney that filed the probate if it was handled by an attorney, etc. So I'm calling people that are not on the do not call list that are the known personal representatives for estates. How would those be known litigators? I mean, I don't make the connection there.
Sure, I got it. So here's the thing. We with our leads, we put out lots of information and we do a lot of research and we try to find as many people as possible that are associated and affiliated with the personal representative, or in the case of pre-probate, with the person that passed away. There's no way that what's happening, Joe, is that so many people are figuring out that they can make money by sitting there and, exposing a phone number into the public, that then they turn around and monitor that phone line to do nothing but that. So it could be, think about this, you could have 3 people that were related to Billy Bob who passed away, and we give you the 3 numbers for those. And, 6 months before Billy Bob passed away, one of them decided to be a person who wants to make money off of litigating people for spamming them. And that's what they do. So while, yes, that's a phone number that's related to the person that passed away, it's also somebody who's sitting back making money playing this game. That makes sense?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the real probability of that is.
It is sadly becoming more and more likely, only because now I'm seeing people that are hustling people, training people how to do this.
Yeah.
They're literally grooming people. You want to make some dough and help enforce the new law? And there are law firms that are out there who are gathering these folks, into groups to furnish them with opportunity to sue them.
I have it right here, by the way, Tim. I shared my
Go right
screen.
ahead, bud.
You may be owed up to $1,500 for each. By the way, guys, this is like a live ad that's running. You may be owed up to $1,500 for each spam text message. By the way, if you're sending text messages, you're playing with fire. Like, I would not recommend sending text messages because it's blatant. I mean, there's, you could, oh, oops, I accidentally called. It's blatant if you're sending a text. But this is something that's been active now for the past, I want to say it's 3 months. So you might be owed $1,500 for each spam text message sent to you by a real estate agent that violates the TCPA. Know your rights. You could be entitled to compensation if you've been receiving unsolicited text messages. Don't wait. Check to see if you qualify for potential consultation. Free case review. So guys, like, attorneys are actively like trapping people in this. And sure, I mean, we don't know what the likelihood of people being on that are, but there's just a lot of, like, that's why we do the known litigator scrub, because we want to know, hey, is this person a known litigator, or have they, we won't know until it's too late. And that's why we always have to make sure that we're being proactive. It's just
Is that like a
unfortunate.
Facebook ad?
That was a Facebook ad. Yeah.
But,
Ridiculous.
The other thing that can happen, and this will sound insane, but it is true. There are folks who are the personal representatives who, even though they are the personal representative, that phone number that we find directly for them is on the do not call list, right? And so, yep, I'm a PR, and yes, my phone number is on that. We have found attorneys who have their website and list the phone number on their website. And we go back and look, and the phone number to contact, just to make a phone call to talk to that attorney, it's on the do not call list. So it's like, wow, what's going on here? That's not infrequent. Unfortunately, it's not infrequent at all for that to happen, because more and more, this is what people are using to talk on. Even attorneys and in business practice, everybody's listing their mobile device these days, and they always try to put it on the do not call list because they don't want to get a bunch of spam calls. It's a changing world. It's just a changing world. I wish I had a better answer, but unfortunately, that's the answer.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is, like, we're not trying to scare people away from making phone calls. It's just we have to take it one step further. And that's all the more reason why having different marketing mediums, running retargeting. And for all of our current clients, we're going to call you guys and reach out and kind of let you know what we're doing and how we can help you to make sure that you don't have to worry about the DNC element. But ultimately, I think it's really important that we're just all made aware, because this was all rolled out because of all these AI callers. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to. A lot of this AI calling, the fake calls, the robocalls. And so we don't do any robocalls, fake calls, or any automated dialing systems or anything like that. All of our stuff, like, we had to do quite a bit to get into compliance. And now, I mean, we are 100% compliant. We're doing everything we can in our power to make sure that you guys don't see a drop off in your performance and your production. And if anything, we help increase your production, because now we're also running ads for you. And I mean, that's just where we have to go. And emailing is going to become a part of it as well. That's going to be something that we're working on too, where we have templates that we're going to be sending out to our clients that they can either send, or we can help you guys kind of automate it and put it on some sort of drip. But it's just so much more important now to not just leverage the phone, but leverage these different verticals, different mediums, so that you can stay in front of these folks, regardless of if they're on the DNC or not.
Yeah, to summarize what we've done today, I think what you need to get out of this is a couple of things. One is that, yes, the world's changing, and we're trying to help you informatively stay on top of that. Second thing is that Matt and his team are reflexing to the changes that are and will continue to occur in that market, and they have now done some stuff that differentiate themselves from being just a dialing for dollar service. They're adding the Facebook retargeting, moving into looking at the email world. They're looking at all of the things that they can do in, as Matt referred to it, a holistic way, multiple ways of contact, as many ways as you can touch people and have others touch them for you, which is what you're having Matt and his folks do. Those are the things that are going to separate you from the folks that are not doing that, who are sitting back waiting for the phone to ring, or who acquire leads from Billy Bob's bait, tackle, and lead service and put them under their pillow. and hope they get better and make a lot of money. That's not you. You've got to be out there. You've got to be putting your best foot forward. And we're trying to help you do it in the best way possible with, as little risk as possible. And everybody's trying to do business. It's a changing world. So we're doing the best we can to help. Joe, did you want to say something else, buddy? Okay, go ahead, unmute.
When I first started with with all the leads 4 years ago, 5 years ago, my first couple of lead batches with local PRs, I actually went out and door knocked and got really good results doing it. And I think this could cause a number of us to go back to hitting doors.
I can tell you that our increase in door hangers in terms of what people are ordering has happened a lot. We're seeing people going back to the basics to do this, building that local farming sphere of influence, doing stuff that, basic blocking and tackling. What a great point, Joe. That's a great point that you made. And, you have to realize, how do you want to be contacted? What would be the best way for you to, be contacted by somebody? Well, typically it's word of mouth. It's somebody else said, Joe's a great guy. He helped us when we had this problem and it worked out well. And, we have to find as many ways as possible to approach that zenith of goodness about how best to be contacted. And as many ways that you can get your face and image and values in front of people, that's an awesome way to go do it, for sure. We're at the top of the hour. I saw something just came in text, and we'll take a look at it and see if we can get that out there. You asked about, can you still text past clients that you met at the sports field or whatever? You need to look at the law. There's a time limit on that. There are other things that, you've got to go deal with. We get the TCPA law. We're going to update the part of it on our site. And Jody, I want you to be aware that we need to make sure that if there are changes in the law that get reflected, we have a copy of the TCPA law that we always have on our site. Let's make sure it's updated, because it just dawned on me that I haven't done that in a little bit, and we need to go get that done. So we always try to stay as current as we can. Maybe we better just put the link up there. I think it may get changed even more than that. Steve, go ahead.
Tim, one of the other things too is to check it for each of your states, because it's going to differ. There are some days in some states, like for me in Pennsylvania, they don't want you calling on a federal holiday or on a Sunday. So you can't do that. You could potentially be brought up on charges as a result. So it's just something to understand what your environment is, what you can and cannot do. And it's going to differ.
Indeed. Jim, I believe we've had as much as we can stand today. I think it's been a great day. We didn't have to listen to Bruce, which was, always makes it a good day. Sorry, Bruce, but it was a great day for all of us. I think we all learned some stuff. And I really appreciate Matt being here today. And it's great. I really appreciate days like this where we can all grow from it. Jim, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, everybody on this call has my verbal consent to call or text me anytime. I'm going to be reaching out to most of our customers. I'm making a concerted effort to try to call each and every one of you this year. I want to congratulate Jim Stewart. He is our winner of the week. I'm pretty sure, because he had the only listing success story. Alyssa will inform support, and you'll get a discount on your next set of leads. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. It wasn't the most exciting call, but it was certainly a necessary and informative one. I want to thank particularly Matt, Joseph, Jim, Mark, Joe, and Steve for actively participating. And I want to challenge each of you, take one of the great thoughts or ideas that were shared on today's call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share the results with the group.